Hi, good afternoon. This is Amy, and today is Tuesday, December the 23rd. And I just wanted to give you an update. I waited a few extra days before I posted this just to see how I was doing. And so I'm glad to say that I'm feeling great. With the last update, I was getting ready for my first chemo treatment. I had my port installed. And so I had my port installed on last Tuesday, and it was outpatient surgery, real simple. And then that next Friday, so a few days later, I had my first treatment. And so my treatment was just this past Friday, so it's been 4 days. And what they're giving me, my regimen is what they call a Keynote 522 regimen. It's basically going to be 5 months of treatment. So it's in part one and part two. Part one is 12 weeks, and it's done once a week. I go every Friday for the next 12 weeks. And what they're giving me is they're giving me 3 drugs this first part, and then I'll get 2 drugs the second part. The second part will be 1 treatment every other week for 4 treatments. So that'll take 2 months alone. And this will take 3, the first part. So this first part, I'm getting 3 drugs. The first one is Keytruda, which is an immunotherapy drug. And they've just recently started using this. I don't know how recent, but they just started using this. It's only for specific cancers, but they started using it for triple negative breast cancer in the aggressive stage, as well as what I am. I am the triple negative breast cancer early stage, but high risk. And so the high risk is because of the replicating factor and also some other measurements that they do, that if you add these 3 numbers up, it's called the Nottingham grade. And my 3 numbers totaled, it was 3, 3, and 3. They total 9. The highest is 7 to 9. So I'm this high risk category. So with this Keytruda, I was eligible for it. And so it needed to be done before surgery as well as after. So I had the port, had my first treatment, and it was a really great experience. It takes a while. It takes about 3 hours for the treatment. So I got to the doctors or to the cancer center. I go to Florida Cancer Specialists. And first you have labs. They do labs every time before your treatment to make sure your white blood cells and you have no infection, and just checking everything because they are giving you a bunch of poison and they want you to be sure that you're going to be okay. And then you meet I met with the oncologist, and then you have your treatment. So the treatment lasted 3 hours. And what they do is at first they give you like a cocktail, we'll say, of some meds to pre-meds. And so that was nausea medicine. It was a steroid. It was a Benadryl type medicine, and also a Pepcid medicine for acid reflux. So they give that to you first, let that sit in your system for a little bit, and then they start the treatments. And so everything goes in the port, and the port is great. So here's the port. It's still a little bruised, but it feels good. They said it looked great 3 days after it was done when they started to do the treatments. But what's really great is I have my wonderful ladies from my Bible study gave me a care package. And if you go to church, if you're a faith and you're going to church, I suggest you go to church. But if you can join a small women's group or a men's group if you're a man, please do. It's such a wonderful fellowship time. But in any case, they bought me 2 of these shirts. So here's the shirt. It's wonderful. And it has access on both sides, zippers, so that they can easily access my port. And so it's wonderful. I'm sorry, I'm not. See, so on each side, they have these port access on the side too. And then also there's zippers on the arms if you need IVs. So it's just easy access. They're super comfortable. So that worked out really well. And so then I had my treatments, and 3 hours, it was over. Everybody was very kind. They explained everything that was happening. There was drinks, there was snacks if you wanted them where I was. And so when it was done, they unhooked me. And my husband and I went out to eat afterwards. I was hungry, so we ate. And I felt really good. I haven't had any side effects it's only been the first treatment. So I know as this stuff builds up in my body, it will be, it'll start to get tougher, I'm sure. So we'll keep you going. We'll let you know how I'm doing along the way. But I just wanted to give you an update and let you know that I feel good. I walk. They encourage you to exercise. They want you to drink a lot of water. I always drink a lot of water, but they want you to drink like 100 ounces at least a day to get this stuff out of your system. Eat good. I have no nausea. I was a little bit constipated, TMI, but that was the only thing that that I noticed. And I'm journaling. I'm keeping a list of everything: how I feel that day, how much I drank, what I've eaten, how many steps I've walked, everything. And then next week when I go to the doctor, I'll have a list of new questions and I will talk to him about that. I did have some questions about genetic testing because they wanted to do genetic testing on me. And so I said, well, why? I don't want that information in the database to discriminate against me somewhere along the way. I said, what is the reason for that? I said, if it's just to know if I'm predisposed to cancer, I am. I've got it. So I know that. And basically she said, well, do you have children? Like if I had a daughter, they'd want to know if I'm BRCA, that BRCA mutation. And we don't have any kids, so that wasn't it. But she said maybe in the future there could be some targeted drug that would be good that we could use if my cancer comes back, right? And so I said, well, let me think about that a little bit. But there is I did some research, and I'm going to ask my doctor about this next week. So there is a gene inhibitor it's called PARP, PARP, and you could, for triple negative breast cancer, if you have the BRCA mutation, they could use this PARP inhibitor therapy, which I may consider. So I'm going to talk to him about that. If he says yes, but this is my first line of defense. It's going to be the Keytruda, the carboplatin, and the Taxol. So that's my first chemo drug that I'm taking the first 12 weeks. And then the next 12 weeks, I didn't tell you that, the next 8 weeks is going to be idramycin and Cytoxan. And that's going to be a little bit denser, I think, and harder. So, but that's, 12 weeks down the road from now. But I'm going to ask him that if I do get the genetic testing and I am BRCA positive for that mutation, will you then do the PARP inhibitor therapy, and see what he says? And that's how I'll make my decision on that. But I thank you for watching, and anyone of faith or not of faith, just pray for me and my husband, and I pray for you. If you have any prayer requests, put them in the comment section, and just know that I serve an awesome God who knows everything. He knows everything about all of us, regardless. He created you. So just have faith in our amazing God. And we'll talk more about that later. You guys have a great night. Have a wonderful Christmas. And I will touch base a few days after my next treatment, which is Friday, the day after Christmas. God bless.